Okay, we're going to go back now to Kieran Gilbert, who is in the seat of Braddon on Tasmanian's northwest coast, where he's joined by Jacqui Lambie. As a Tasmanian myself, Jacqui is very well known there.
Yeah, she's a popular local. We've found her, and nice to see you. It's God's country here. It's beautiful.
Welcome.
This is lovely.
You didn't bring your steel helmet, mate. It's all right. I have. I've put those drop bears. I've told them to behave themselves.
Look
so
after
you'll
us.
be right.
Thank
you'll
you.
be right, mate.
Well, it's nice to be here, and give us a sense of the electorate. Have people noticed there's an election on?
No, not particularly. No, I think these people. You know, this is one of the poorest electorates in Australia, and I think that people are more concerned about, you know, how they're going to put bread and milk on their table for the day than worrying about an election going on. There doesn't seem to be any hype about any election going on here. It's really, and then as well as that, we're going to Easter holiday. So right now they've got the kids and that at home. So the last thing they're going to be wanting to be interested in is an election.
I did speak to a few of the locals. Your name came up a couple of times. The thing that they like is that you're here. Boots on the ground, as one of them put it to me.
Yeah.
It's important to the locals up here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about boots on the ground. As well as that, we've never got this bloody stuff to get us through an election, so it is about boots on the ground. For me, I cannot get enough of that because it's the knowledge that I learned from them. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's ag, where we did this morning out there at Harvest Moon, and we had AusVeg down here, and just going through what's going on here agriculturally in Tasmania. You know, what they need in the future and things like that. So it's nice to have those connections, and they're my boss. They tell me where to go and what needs to be done.
So you're at AusVeg today. Is that the biggest? Give our viewers who are watching around the country a sense of Burnie, Devonport, Braddon, this seat of Braddon.
Yeah. So
what are the key industries?
Yeah, so it's quite a mix. It's a lot of agriculture. You know, there's obviously mining coming from the west coast, which is only an hour's drive, an hour and a half's drive up there. And then on the other hand, you've got an hour and you can go to Cradle Mountain and do some tourism stuff. So we're a great mixture of what is going on here. And then, of course, we have our very own Elphinstone, obviously in our own backyard. So we have a combination here on the northwest coast, that combination of jobs and that sort of thing, and industry going on. Not near enough. You know, we'd like to see a lot more manufacturing down here. There's no doubt about that. We were once known as the city of makers right across Australia. Obviously, like many other places around Australia, manufacturing's been gone over the years. We used to have the pulp, we used to have the paper, we used to have the pulp, which made the paper mill. We used to have the toweling factory here in Devonport many years ago, which is doing Sheridan towels and things like that. And then, of course, we have Simplot here, both in Devonport and Burnie, doing the vegetables, both frozen and also your chips you get at McDonald's.
One of the issues that was raised with me as well, talking to a few of the voters, is housing, affordability or lack of, rental issues as well. The prices going through the roof here, like they are across the rest of the country.
Yeah, it's no different. And you know what, considering that I have to ask, considering that I was able to wipe the housing debt down here, that I have not seen the consistency, especially in the first couple of years. They really seem to be getting into it, the state government, and right now we're just trying to find out how many houses have been built during that period of time. The other thing is, at the moment, we have had that tradie problem like many other areas in Australia, but what I'm hearing from my tradie friends is they are now having jobs where they've been told those jobs have now been put off for a later date because those people don't have the money. So this is very interesting times here, and what is going to replace that, especially those tradies. We have a lot of tradies down here on the northwest coast and over Tasmania, and right now when they're telling me that those jobs that were booked for 6 months have now been put on hold because they're worried about the economy, that's now becoming a great problem down here as well.
I know health is an issue too. I spoke to Dr. Emil Jacqui, a GP from Ulverston, and who's the GP of the year in Tasmania last year.
Yeah, he's my bloody doctor.
Oh, is he? Yeah, right. Okay, it's a small.
That doctor, that's been our family doctor. That clinic in there for quite some time.
Well, it was nice. We had him on the show earlier, and he was saying that one of the things is he's happy with the focus on health in the region, but we've got to think longer term and not always try and look at the emergency response, but you've got to just build the health resilience of the population as well, make people healthier, not just relying on emergency and the treatment.
Absolutely, and I have to say to the Albanese government, the best thing that they've done is those health clinics and rolling them out. We've had, I think the next one, or it's just opening Burnie as well, having those 24-hour health clinics where you can just show up and not have to pay any money. Because a lot of people on the northwest coast, they're living on or below the poverty line, and they're worried, my God, am I going to have to come up with 15 or 20 bucks to make that gap? Well, with those medical centres, that's alleviating that problem. That has been helpful, and also taking taking that pressure off those family practices over the last few years has just been absolutely smashed because they can't get those doctors in either. And I think you can just start to see that taking that bit of that bit of heaviness off our GPs that have been here our whole lifetimes.
There's been a big focus in the last 18 months, 2 years on Macquarie Harbour down the coast, where the salmon fishing industry is a significant one in Tassie. What's your read on how that's been managed, given the government did legislate with the support of the opposition before Christmas to protect the jobs in that salmon farming industry?
Yeah, okay, I'm glad they're protecting the jobs in the salmon farm industry instead of looking at Tasmania as a whole and looking at making sure that our brand Tasmania stays where it is. I'll never understand why we're using $37 million of taxpayers' money to oxygenate a harbour when I could have used that $37 million with the 20 or 30 workers that are actually down there and relocated them and retrained them into other jobs. You tell me what...
So you don't think that that's a pivotal part of the...
No, I absolutely do. No, this 5,000 jobs that they're talking about is absolutely rubbish, and that is a lie. They know that. I've called them out for that. They are not the stats at all. A lot of it is machines and that doing those jobs now, dropping the food and all that sort of stuff. And you know what? Those internationals could be helping themselves. Those companies down here, they could actually be helping themselves. All we're asking them to do is move those nets a lot further out into the deep sea instead of worrying about all the profits they've got.
Because there's an endangered stingray.
Yes, it's a skate. It's called the skate. It's a tiny little white thing, so there's not just about the endangering the harbour. It's been overfished for way too long. It never started off like that, and since the multinationals have come in, that's why our own sold out in the last 3 to 5 years, because they could see that they could no longer expand. So what do they do here at the state government level? They actually give them more expansion. They let them in, and that is what is going on at Macquarie Harbour. For goodness me, that is old growth forest and that down there. You have the tourists going down there that are in, they're going up and down looking at that harbour, and what they're seeing is slimy crap sitting on top of that water and along that bay, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And Burnie Island. My God, that's one of our biggest tourist destinations, and as soon as you arrive there, all you see is stinky salmon sitting in those nets on the coast. Get them out of the harbours, spend your money, stop making so much money out of Tasmania, and push them out in the middle, push them out to sea.
Just one final one. I know that you're a red-hot favourite to stay in the Senate at the election. I don't think there's much question on that. But what's your read on the lower house, the seat of Braddon? Because Gavin Pearce, I know you know him well, he's wrapping up after 2 terms, popular Liberal member. Now it's a different kettle of fish. Oh, look, how do you see that unfolding? Credit to Gavin Pearce, he did a great job here. We have to get to know each other here. There's not a problem. Gav's been great for the Northwest Coast and for Braddon. Anne's been in the area for a very, very long time as a senator. She's grown up here. She lives here. She only lives about 10 minutes up the road from me. And I think she has a red-hot chance of actually taking this seat. We've got a new guy out there, obviously. He's not very well known. And the only thing they're running off is that he's running under that blue ticket. Is that going to be known enough? Because his name is not known. I'm not quite sure. But going up against someone like Anne Urquhart that's been in the game for a long time, and she's like me, she runs around with the boots on, mate. She mightn't be as loud as what I am out there, but Anne's got her boots on all the time. We're crossing over all the time with our boots and jeans on. So that's how we operate over this side. Well, thanks for bringing your boots here. Great to see you. Appreciate it. Nice to be down here.
No worries, mate. I'll make sure those drop bears don't get you on the way out.
Thanks, Jacqui Lambie. Thank you.